Hello everyone, this is CoolPro195 streaming live with my RetroTink showcase livestream for these 4 products that you see before you. That's right people, I've officially brought this old project back. I've been meaning to do this for a long time now. Originally I was going to do it as an unboxing video, but then given the history of unboxing videos where I've had to edit a fuck ton, a lot of editing had to go into the commentary track and everything, so then I figured I'd do it as a showcase live stream in the end, because it just gets out of the way quicker, and on top of that it gets it out on both platforms, YouTube and Twitch, so it pretty much makes both platforms go hand in hand. And yeah, these products were made by none other than the one and only Mike Chi, or Mike Power, as some of you might call him, since in a way Chi translates to energy, and energy is like a synonym to power, and Chi is also a Chinese surname. And I'll explain more about these products and everything after I pretty much share the link and all that stuff. So yeah, it's nice to be back live. And on top of that, I was actually planning to live stream this a week ago as well, but then I just legit got the worst case of cabin fever, which honestly, well, it's nothing to do with health, it's just to do with going stir crazy with not being able to get it done, because either you just can't be fucked to get up, or it's just, in a way, sometimes you get that performance anxiety that in a way kills your performance, so to speak. Oh, that Gamer Malik just joined. Welcome to the live stream. Cheers for stopping by. I'm just getting started. And yes, this will be an epic showcase. By the way, for those of you who actually want to join the commentary, feel free to do so. For those of you who are in the Dingo Crash Discord, for those of you who are actually in the Dingo Crash Discord server, feel free to jump into the general voice chat channel. For those of you who are in that server, who actually want to join the commentary. If you're not, then I can perhaps send, if you're not in that server, I can perhaps send the link to you privately, for those of you in the chat who are not in the Dingo Crash Discord server. Anyways, I'm just gonna post this all on social media before I proceed. I legit just had to mute my mic for a bit because I was just giving some people a word of warning. As you probably might have heard, some of them in the background, but never mind, we all move forward. Life goes on. Yeah, just posting it in all the Discord servers that I've pretty much whipped the link out to, so yeah, just whip it out. And I really don't want this project, it's annoying for any project to go on for such a long ass time. It's no one wants to go through that sort of scenario, especially when it comes to developing a game like Cyberpunk 2077. It legit goes full cyberpunk, from that point forward. So yeah, that's a scenario that you really don't want to land yourself in. Although, of course, making a game is in a way, sort of a different scenario, but the same principle sort of applies. Any project, you don't want it to be going on for too long, and you just want to get the ball rolling. And also, before I forget, honorable shoutouts to both of those users who have actually donated to me within past live streams, Mr. Original Name and James the Crimson Dragon. Every donation is appreciated. It's no obligation whatsoever, but for those of you who want to donate, feel free to do so. Honestly, I can't appreciate it enough. You legit don't have to donate if you don't want to. Just do it out of your own generosity. No one's expecting you to donate. Plus, this is gonna be a chill live stream, so let's make it as chill as possible. And it'd be nice to have some people join the commentary as well, because it just makes the live stream all the more fun. Oh yeah, recently I just had to, like, out of the blue, my stream key just fucking changed out of nowhere, so I just had to legit copy and paste the new one, and it changed without me even doing it. It changed the stream key without... It changed, like, the stream key without even, like... It changed it, like, on my behalf without my authority, which is fucking retarded. So if someone wants to change their stream key, they should do it manually. But yeah, anyways, we're past that now, as you can see. Wait, let me just get the live stream up on my phone as well before I proceed. I'll explain more about this. Oh, someone in LimitBreakRyan's Discord server is also going live himself. Well, best of luck to you, LRJ044 Lennon. Break a leg of your live stream, bro. But anyways, back to business. Stream, bro. But anyways, back to business. Stream, bro. But anyways, fucking hell, show the mute button, please. There we go. Jeez, man. The autoplay function can be a bit of a bitch sometimes. Like, you should have the option to not have autoplay, because nobody asked for that. Okay, so yeah, I introduced you to the live stream, but I didn't actually, you know, read out your comment. But yeah, the Gamer Malik says ninja support from shadows while at work. Yeah, pretty interesting, huh? But anyways, now that I've actually shared everything across the live stream, now I can pretty much go into the detail of pretty much this package that I'm unboxing, that actually, well, unboxing and showcasing, that contains these four products that you see. Now these products right here are the RetroTink 2X Pro, the RGB2COMP, the COMP2RGB, and the RetroTink 2X SCART, and they all have their own purpose of functioning. By the way, as for the name RetroTink, like, the name itself was actually named after Mike G's pet rabbit Tinky, and as a matter of fact, there's been like a team of 2 rabbits, which also explains the 2 rabbits within the logo that you see up there. The one on the left is Melly, who I think he picked up in 2014, or she was born in 2014. I don't exactly know the case, or whether it's a he or she, I don't exactly know, but presumably it's a she because of the name Melly, but I'm not going to go off on a tangent about that. But anyways, but according to the site, it says 2014 to 2019, so presumably she was either born or picked up by Mike Chi in 2014, and then presumably passed away in 2019, which of course is unfortunate. And I remember my 2 pet rabbits, and those are the days. I had them almost a decade ago. Like, I remember, like, when they escaped and got eaten by foxes, man, that was fucked up. But yeah, losing pets is always hard. even if it is a pet, like, it's still, you know, a valued member of your family. But I've got a few cats now anyway. We got like 3 cats over here. Anyways, not gonna go off on a tangent about pets, but I just figured I'd bring up my rabbits since, well, my past pets and my current pets, considering we were slightly on the topic of pets just there. But they were good pets still. But that's as far as I'm going with them. And there's nothing wrong with discussing it either. And as you can see, like, the rabbit on the right is Tinky, the pet rabbit that he actually named the company after him, which is pretty cool. And RetroTink is pretty much the company RetroTink. Like, the goal of the company was pretty much to, like, bring out products that would help consumers, you know, connect their older systems to newer TVs and also capture them, be able to record them off brand new capture devices that only support HDMI, and at the same time preserve that authentic experience that you would get from an original console, especially with scanline filters and such. And not only that, but actually, you know, polishing up a clean signal and everything, which is really cool. Oh, hey Ninja, the Crash fan, cheers for following. Thanks for the follow, mate, and welcome to the live stream, he says. Hello, cheers for jumping in. Yeah, thanks to you, I'm back up to 587 followers. Thanks for stopping by. And yeah, I'm pretty much like going to showcase these 4 products over here that you see, which, you know, I've had to do cutouts of myself. And it was pretty difficult to do as well because of the background that the images were in. Like, it was a white background where I had, like, it was a white background and the products themselves were like blending in with the shadows, so like in a way it was difficult to sort of navigate with the lasso tool, but I managed to put it off quite smoothly, as you can see. Like, it's as best as you're gonna get it, so, but it's still really decent. It's better than nothing. But anyways, the goal of these products is to pretty much preserve the original experience while actually upscaling the image. Well, I say upscaling when technically these devices are line multipliers like the OSSC and not upscalers like the FrameMeister. I own both, but then the RetroTink came out and like these RetroTink products started coming out, and I've seen that they've been delivering more promising results, and not only that, but they're also a more cost-effective solution on top of it as well. And some of you may be wondering, just by looking at the first 3 products that I have lined up in the thumbnail alone, some of you are probably thinking that they're pretty much the same product. To the untrained eye, they look like the same product, unless, of course, you actually look at them in detail. You look at each single one of them individually. So pretty much like they have their own, like, they still have their own architecture, so like they have their own functions for their own purpose. And by the way, speaking of a RetroTink, like these products weren't actually the first of a RetroTink. Technically, like the RetroTink 2X Pro, which is the first one, is actually the successor to the original RetroTink, which came out in 2018, and then like the RetroTink 2X Pro was in development for like 1 or 2 years to my memory. And to be honest, I'm actually glad I actually waited for the 2X Pro to come out instead of jumping straight to the RetroTink 2X, the original RetroTink 2X, which they now call the RetroTink 2X Classic, which is also now on a limited run of stock, as you can see. But anyways, you won't be missing as much, and it's also been advertised as not such a major upgrade to the original RetroTink 2X Pro, but a more ergonomically suitable product to use, especially in terms of its overall design. And yeah, I'll get more into detail about these products themselves as I showcase them, but yeah. And also, they actually came out with a new product as well, which I think they came out with it a few months ago now. It's called the RetroTink 2X Pro multi-format, which is not a successor to the RetroTink 2X Pro, but an alternative for like 6th gen consoles because of its 480p support and 720p support. So like it's more suitable for consoles like the PS2, Xbox, GameCube, and Wii. If you're gonna use them as like, if your intentions is to actually play with those consoles with the progressive scan sort of quality, with progressive scan like at their best picture possible, because like of course progressive is much better. A progressive scan signal is much better than an interlaced scan signal, and it would be most suitable, like for that scenario specifically, it would be most suitable for the original Xbox, because, well, at the same time the PS2 as well, but more so the original Xbox, because there's a wider, because pretty much like a wider number, or like a larger number, should I say, a wider variety of the video game library of the original Xbox actually supports 720p or above. Even though like it's only a handful of games, it's still a wider variety of games that support 720p and above in comparison to the video game library of the PS2, along with the other 6th gen consoles. So yeah, it's more of an alternative, and also it handles composite signal better. It actually cleans it up better in terms of like handling composite signals. So like another thing that they actually recommend, like the RetroTink 2X Pro format, like multi-format, is for those who are actually using composite signal as like their main, as pretty much like their main source of connection. Even though like it's not recommended, it's just for those that, you know, don't feel like they want to upgrade, or like, you know, make the upgrade to S-Video or RGB SCART or component. But yeah, we'll get into these connectors real soon. We'll get more into the connections real soon. But yeah, it'd be nice to see some more people showing up, but since I've pretty much said what I needed to say to introduce these products, I think this would be a good point to start off, to actually showcase these products. Okay, so here we are with the crate itself from Mike Chi himself. And yeah, I actually had to take the label off the top of the box because of, like, pretty much because of security reasons. Hey Stefan, welcome to the live stream. He says, hey Mr. PG. Hey Mr. SV, welcome. Yeah, in a way it's like, in a way sort of an inside joke, but what the fuck ever. It's just for the memes. By the way, feel free to jump into the commentary, Stefan. I'm in the Dingo Crash Discord. I'm actually in the general voice chat channel within the Dingo Crash Discord server, so if you want to join, feel free to jump in. Unless you're busy. But feel free to do so. Oh, it says can't at the moment. Alright. And that's calm. By the way, those of you who actually have questions about these products, feel free to ask them. Ask away, because it'd be nice to keep the conversation going, and it'll also be nice to answer people's questions, whatever, you know, they actually have. Like, whatever queries they have. And yeah, as I was saying, this box is already open because I took off, like, the label which was covering the top of the entire crate. And I had to, like, get it off for security reasons, so of course I'm not gonna show it on live stream for security reasons. So yeah, best off taking the logo off. Man, I had to go through some careful procedure with, like, the scissors and everything. And I also had to know what I was getting myself into, just in case. Okay, Nintendo Crash fan says, I'll have to leave the stream soon because I'm busy. Fair enough. Hey, I appreciate you stopping by either way. And for the follow, I can't appreciate that enough. And Stefan's like trying to wake up. Yeah, like, I woke up earlier when Abdul the Arabic guy was live streaming earlier on. Like, he was still in the middle of his live stream. By the way, shout out to Abdul. Shout out to, like, I can't believe it. I was legit about to say Abdul. Like, what the fuck is Abdul? Yeah, but yeah, anyways, shout out to Abdul the Arabic guy, as that's his username on YouTube, aka our official star over on Twitch, for doing his 500 subscriber special for his 5,000 subscribers special celebration live stream that he just did. Actually, he just finished his live stream. Yeah, his 5,000 subscribers special celebration live stream for his YouTube channel, which he's actually just played all of the platforming Crash Bandicoot games, which, you know, he's just finished like a few hours ago by now. And it was a pretty eventful live stream. For those of you who actually want to watch that back, I highly recommend you do so. It was fun. Yeah, he had technical difficulties to start with. We can all relate to that shit, but feel free to check it out. Honorable shout outs to my bros. Yeah, that's right, Stefan says, yeah, Abdul was doing all the Crash games. Yeah, he finished it. Yeah, anyways, now moving on. Okay, so I've explained my reasons to actually opening this up, so now I'm just gonna get into the content itself, but excuse me if the commentary, like, I mean, if the quality sort of deteriorates. Well, not deteriorates, but in a way sounds, you know, less than what it should sound, because I'm further away from the mic because of this. But anyways, now to showcase the products. Okay, so here we are. Man, in a way, like, I'm sort of picturing the whole fucking Naughty Dog crate / Beanox crate from the Crash Bandicoot games, like the Naughty Dog crate from Crash 3 and CTR, and the Beanox crate from CTR and F, and just like having it, just pretty much like having it shoot up in the air and then just like flip upside down and then just tip all the contents out. But, you know, in this scenario, that would be a fucking catastrophe at best. So yeah, it's best not to do that in this case scenario. Now, as you can see, it's very nicely protected. And something very interesting to note, the way these devices are powered, like, it's cool that it doesn't actually require you to use, you know, an actual, like, power supply. It doesn't actually require you to use the mains. It's powered by micro USB or mini USB. Like, I'll check the port again just in case, because there's a clear difference between the two. Anyways, now to open up the products. Okay, I'll just take them all out one by one, and then just scatter them across. And also, in a way, it's hard to pick out which one's which, because, of course, you can't actually see through the bubble wrap. Well, in a way, you can, but you can't. They're a lot tinier than I pictured, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, I think it's safe to say I should put the box somewhere else. Okay, I'll just put the box next to my chair. And here we are with the products themselves. Okay, so I'm gonna look at all of them in order, or in the order that I want to look at them in, just to showcase them. Okay, I know this. I can just about tell which one's which. So yeah, I'm just gonna see. In a way, it's quite interesting how they, like, sort all this out, in a way. I think, like, some of them he didn't actually I think some of them he didn't actually, you know, just put them inside the fucking, what you call it. He didn't actually put a cover, whereas some of them they actually have covers. And also I've noticed with some people that they actually had some stuff. I noticed that like they had some stuff. They actually had like the official, you know, they had like official labels as well, but I didn't get any, but that doesn't matter. I mean, the main thing is that I have the products. Although like it's nice to have for collective purposes, but anyways. As Stefan's like, Pedro, new setup confirmed, Kappa. Yeah, in a way. I mean, in a way it's part of a multi-purpose setup as to why I actually picked up these 4 products right here. Okay, so I think I'll just to be safe, I'll take them all out of their packaging, just so we know which one's which. Because like, although it would help if you actually like put a label on each of them. Like, it's not a gripe, it's just constructive criticism. It's just constructive feedback. Okay, so I can make out what 2 of them are, but not one of them, because some of them are in like fucking, like they're in fucking satchels, so to speak. Okay, I know that this is not what it is, but yeah, I'll showcase them in order. I mean, it would be better organized if they were labeled, but he did what he did, and at least I got the products, so it's all I can ask for. Okay, so I think these 2 are like some of the products that are actually, I think these 2 are like some of the products that I'm actually, you know, aiming to fully get into. I think I know why, in a way, why he did that. He probably wanted to distinguish, like, you know, the main ones from the ones that actually act like a secondary plugin. In a way that actually makes sense, you know. And I think like just by, you know, feeling the product, I can just feel the connectors in this one. This one should be, if I'm correct, this one should be the RetroTink 2X Pro, and this one should be the RetroTink 2X SCART. And I'll explain why I got all these 4 products, like in more detail as I'm showcasing them. Okay, so if I'm correct, this should be the RetroTink 2X Pro, because I can feel the connectors of a component, of like the component input over here. And I was right. This is the RetroTink 2X Pro right here, and these are a lot tinier in person, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, yeah, they may look big in, you know, the actual shots, but in person they're actually quite tiny, and it's really cool the way they're designed. But anyways, now that I'm actually pretty much showcasing the devices themselves, now would be a good time for me to actually, you know, go into detail about the connectors. Okay, so over here, pretty much with the RetroTink 2X Pro, you have like component input, and this green input over here, like as you can see, like this green slot over here, like it actually shares the signal with composite. So like this is where, if you were to use composite signal, you'd plug the yellow cable into this plug. So yeah, like composite is pretty much like the cable that would come with, that would actually, you know, arrive with your legacy consoles, so to speak, for those like 5th gen and 6th gen consoles, if you didn't actually purchase the higher quality cables, whether it's S-Video, RGB SCART, or component. And I know that this doesn't have an RGB SCART connector, but we'll get into that in a bit, because this uses like one of the secondary add-ons, so to speak. And I'll get into that as I showcase them. So yeah, we actually got the component input over here. Like YPBPR is like the official term for component, for like component connection. And this is typically what you would use for 6th gen consoles in terms of getting the best signal out of them. And in terms of RGB, I'll get into the two types of signals as I showcase the other two products that are actually, you know, just add-ons to these. And in the side we have an S-Video connector over here for those of you who want to use S-Video. Of course, like, I'd highly recommend Component for the best quality signal possible to get out of this device. Well, to get out of your consoles hooked up to this device. And as you can also see, they also share the audio cables. They also actually share the audio connectors, as you can see, like white for left and red for white and red for right. I don't even know why I said the color white for some reason, but yeah, everyone makes mistakes. But yeah, white for left, red for right. Okay, didn't trip up there. And also, those are pretty much like the main connectors that you need to know in terms of hooking up your consoles. Whereas like back here, we actually have, this is micro USB, because I know that mini USB like is more bulkier. So yeah, it uses a micro USB connector in order to power the device. And of course we have the HDMI output slot, either to hook up to your TV or your capture card. And these buttons right here, like, there's actually an input switcher button, which, you know, comes in really handy. As you can see, this button over here is like for the input, in order to switch between component, composite, and S-Video. Hey Nights at Kendall's, welcome to the live stream. Cheers for stopping by. She says, I need something like this. Yeah, don't we all? Yeah, this is legit what we all need right now. This is pretty much like for those purists, so to speak. And like, I'm pretty much one of those, but at the same time, I use emulators on the side in case I feel like doing so. But I do want to start also bringing in the authentic experience of actually showcasing like the best possible quality out of the original consoles as possible. Like, and I want to throw that into the mix in the process. So yeah, over here we have an input switcher, which you can switch between component, S-Video, and composite, which are like the three supported inputs over here. And RetroTink 2X Pro multi-format, as I brought up earlier, like I said, it's not a successor to this device, it's just an alternative that actually supports the resolutions 480p and above, including 720p, which is more than ideal for the original Xbox. Although you can hook them up here, it would be more recommended to get the RetroTink 2X Pro multi-format. Now, like, I would actually purchase one too, but at the same time, it's like, now that Brexit has been put in place, it's become more of a bitch to import products. Especially, I think they've pumped up the prices on customs as well, not just that, but apparently you have to go through an even lengthier process now, which is really weird. I mean, it's not helping freedom of movement anyway, but anyways, I'm not gonna get deep into politics. Well, I'm not gonna get deep into politics now. Let's not get political up in this building. I'm just gonna pretty much, like, we're here to discuss these products, so yeah, let's continue. And that's all we are. And hey Ryan, welcome to the live stream. He says, yo dude, just lurking at the moment. Nights at Kendall says, when I do my Silent Hill 2 run, I'm not allowed to use emulator, otherwise the run is completely invalid, lol. Yeah, like, that's the thing with some speedrun leaderboards, they don't allow emulators, because it's not the original console speed. And in a way, it's like considered cheating or hacking, like, so to speak. It's easy to modify an emulator to run at a certain frame rate in order to give yourself the upper hand. But in a way, it's good that some leaderboards actually ban that. I mean, a good emulator that I would recommend for speedrunning, that actually, in a way, sort of duplicates or replicates the authentic experience would be BizHawk. That's a good emulator for speedrunning. Yeah, and Kendall also says, politics are too messy for a stream. Haha, tell me about it. It's like, fuck politics, chuck that shit out the window. But yeah, anyways, I've explained the input switcher, which you can switch between the 3 inputs. Now over here, we actually have a filter button, which you can actually add a scanline filter in order to give the signal that CRT type look per se. So like, say you're playing the game and you had to put the scanline filter on, and like it would just put like those black scan lines on the screen like over the gameplay footage in order to try and replicate the CRT aesthetic while you're actually playing your old classic retro games from all these classic retro legacy consoles, which in a way is a neat feature. And now over here, like, there's also like a comb filter, which in a way actually has processing. You can either like switch it to retro mode. I think this comb filter over here does like, it deals with the aspect ratio, so to speak. So like, if you were to, now as you can see, or probably can't because of the focusing and the lighting, but I think you can just about, okay, so it has retro mode up here and auto mode down here. Now retro mode sets the aspect ratio to 4:3, which is dope. So like, in a way, it's also another way for purists, in a way, to actually, you know, enjoy the authentic experience of playing the game of playing like all these classic games off their original consoles at their original aspect ratio, instead of like being a stretched 16:9, instead of being like a stretched 16:9 aspect ratio, which, you know, a number of people are against, especially in the retro community. But honestly, like, I can vouch for both. It doesn't faze me too much, but of course it's down to preference, and auto mode it's more to do with so pretty much like, it will pick up whatever the signal, like it will like shoot out whatever signal this device picks up. So then it would automatically shoot out in 16:9, but at the same time it'd be like, in a processed way. So in a way, it's kind of like cleaning up the signal with this comb filter over here. Actually, no, that's for like the mode itself, whereas like the comb filter itself, it's more like, it just picks up the signal as it would by default if you weren't to put it in retro mode. And now, like, moving on to mode, as you can see down here, we have line 2x mode and pass-through mode. So like, there's like a low pass filter and a line 2x filter, which you can like put into place. So like line 2x and above, this actually supports. So like, it's not locked at line 2x mode. So like, you have the option to switch between line 2x and pass filter. Now line 2x is actually a device. Well, it's not a device, but it's a function. It's a line multiplier function which upscales the image, but in a way where it draws more lines on the screen, as opposed to just upscaling the canvas. Like, it's not just flat out like effortlessly upscaling the canvas. It's actually like drawing more lines in order to preserve the quality in the image. So like, it preserves the detail as it's upscaling the image per se, which is also what the OSSC does. And this pass filter over here, pretty much, in a way, it leaves it as it is. To my recollection, it leaves it as it is. But for those of you who are watching this, who actually have more information on this, feel free to state in the comment section. For those who are watching this on YouTube, feel free to post a correction in the comment section. For those of you who are actually watching this archived, if it's like, if there's a whole like different function to it. But anyways, that's the RetroTink 2X Pro out of the way, and I know that that is the RetroTink 2X SCART, so I'm pretty much going to show them in the order that I want to showcase them in, and I'm going to read some comments as well, since there's been quite a few now. Kendall says, yeah, that's actually pretty cool. Yeah, like, there's sick images. It's like, it's amazing what these devices can do. Like, they're pretty obscure, yet they're worth the investment, and I gotta say, RetroTink is cost effective. She also says, instead of being like the Silent Hill HD collection where it's all stretched and blurry and just ugly, lol. Yeah, it's like, you don't want it looking all washed out and shit. Especially when it comes to like, just flat out upscaling, especially with how like the emulator for PS1 and PS2 games for the PS3 deals with it, even though like, in a way it does a good job, but at the same time it's like, but at the same time there are devices that do a better job, such as these. Ryan says, ah, that's really cool. Yeah, these devices are sick, and I really love what they're doing. Yeah, Ryan also says, that's putting it lightly. Yeah, that's putting it very lightly. Man, they look washed out as fuck if you were to like just point blank upscale it without like these creative solutions. Kendall also says, don't get me started on the creative decisions, lol. That Ryan. And Memo Twitch says, good stuff. Hey, cheers for stopping by, Memo Twitch. You just joined the party. And Kendall also says, James Sunderland not looking like himself with how wide they made him. Yeah, tell me the fuck about it. Okay, so that pretty much covers that, and for those of you who weren't here earlier, these devices are actually powered by micro USB, which is helpful, so you don't even have to plug it into the mains of your wall. You can just plug into anything. You can plug it into your PC, your console, or whatever the fuck uses USB, just to actually power these devices. So yeah, now moving on to pretty much the next like device that I want to showcase now. Like, okay, I know exactly which one is which, but I'm just gonna look back just in case. Just as like a consultation. Okay, I know which one I want to showcase next. Okay, so now over here, wait, let me just bring OBS back up. Now over here we actually have the RGB2COMP, which would pretty much be like a secondary add-on to the RetroTink 2X Pro. And as some of you have probably remembered earlier, I mentioned that this does not have RGB SCART connection, but you can implement it. RGB SCART connection. And how can you do that? Well, you use a device like this, for RetroTink, like the RGB. Wait. Let me just give someone another warning. Okay, I'm back now, but anyways, yeah, just had to give someone another word of warning since they didn't listen the first time. You know, I am live streaming after all. But anyways, yeah, here we have the RGB2COMP, which, in the way, like, the name for the device actually speaks for itself. As you can see it, because, like, as you can tell, it will convert the RGB SCART signal to component signal, which, of course, would be ideal for consoles, for 5th gen consoles, in order for you to actually hook up to the RetroTink 2X Pro, so it'd be like a whole chain, per se, which is really cool. So, like, this would be perfect for consoles like the Atari Jaguar, the PS1, the Sega Saturn. Like, the Sony PlayStation would get a great kick out of this. And so forth. Like, there are so many consoles that you can, like, hook up to this, like for 5th gen and below, to then like pass through with like a high quality component cable. So yeah, there's pretty much like, and there's another one which I'm actually gonna showcase straight after this one, which does the complete opposite, but has like a blue motherboard instead of a red one. So yeah, for those of you who are actually looking for one that converts RGB, that actually converts RGB SCART to, what you call it, the one that actually converts RGB SCART to component, you're gonna want to get the RGB to component. You're gonna be the one that's called, you're gonna be wanting to get the one that it's called the RGB2COMP, which has a red motherboard, and the other one you want to get the blue one. You want to get the one that has a blue motherboard. So yeah, the red one, to recap, the red one, like the one with the red motherboard, converts RGB SCART to component, which is exactly like what you need if you were to go for that. And also, like, I've seen people use couplers, which in a way eliminates the use for cables, but at the same time it's like, it's good to use cables, but at the same time, if you can't find them, then cables are your best alternative. But you want to have like the best quality component cables. So yeah, effectively you would hook this, up to this through a component cable. And I'm actually going to showcase one that I have right now, which is a perfect example of a high quality cable. Okay, so this cable right here, as you can see, is a HD Retrovision component cable, which was made with like full quality shielding and everything, and it also, in a way, like these HD Retrovision component cables, it preserves like the quality of it preserves like the best image of the original quality of, like, you know, the signal that these retro consoles actually spit out, which is really awesome. And on top of that, it also, in a way, replicates what, man, I can't even fucking speak for shit right now, especially since I'm on air, like. But yeah, in a way, like, it also pretty much, these HD Retrovision cables, they replicate like the official component cable signal from the actual official component cables themselves. If they were to, like, if you were to actually purchase an original, like an official component cable for said consoles, such as like the PS2 and stuff. So yeah, this is in a way like an alternative for like those older consoles, for these double-sided ones. But they actually do ones specifically for the PS2 and the Nintendo Wii as well. They don't actually do them for the original Xbox, but there is an Xbox to Wii adapter that, you know, currently exists, and you could use that in conjunction, but it'd be really cool. But yeah, and I've picked this up from Castlemania Games a while back, whereas all these RetroTink products, I've actually purchased them from the RetroTink website itself. So yeah, this would be really useful to hook this up to RetroTink 2X Pro. And to be honest, like, especially in my case scenario, since I actually picked up an original Atari Jaguar with the actual Rayman cartridge plus the beta cartridge itself, it'd be perfect for that scenario, especially since like I picked that up last year. So yeah, Rayman for the Atari Jaguar would be perfect for this type of solution over here. Although, like, I say it now, but of course I'm gonna need to test it out before putting it into action, especially since I had to deal with all of that especially since, you know, I had to deal with the same scenario back with the XRGB Mini FrameMeister and the OSSC. or the OSSC 1.6. Okay, some more comments have been posted, which is really cool. Remember, Twitch says, you're welcome. He says, I'm also working with retro technology like RCA and similar. Yeah, these RCA cables are a legacy, and the fact that, you know, they're still being produced and not only like being sold, but they're also being brought into the market that actually, you know, gets them, that actually encourages people to bring, you know, their older consoles back to life. Well, I say bring them back to life, but actually, like, you know, give people more of a purpose to use their older consoles on their newer devices and, well, their newer displays and such, and still, you know, enjoy the authentic experience. It's like a comeback for the authentic experience on top of that, which is really cool. Ryan says, yo, Memo Twitch. Nightset Kendall says, oh, I've been looking for something for the PS1, yeah, and look no further, since this is a cost-effective solution. She also says, OMG, that's awesome, and I also seen that you've also just followed, which honestly I couldn't appreciate enough. Thanks very much for the follow, Nightset Kendalls. Anyways, now I pretty much like discussed like the first two products. Now like the next two products over here, I know like in a way it looks like unorganized chaos, but I'm just gonna try and keep everything to what it is. Okay, let me just like put the cables. It's okay because it's live, it's not an unboxing video, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so useful piece of tech over here. Okay, so now that's these two covered, I'll just put these aside. The next one I want to cover is, of course, the reverse counterpart. So yeah, now I'm covering the reverse counterpart to the RGB2COMP, and take a wild guess of the name. It's actually called COMP2RGB. So yeah, like the fact that it's a reverse counterpart, the name legit speaks for itself 100%. So yeah, basically it implies that you would hook up a device that uses component in order to convert it to an RGB SCART signal. And yeah, both signals are different, even though RGB SCART and component are two types of RGB signal. Even though they are both RGB signals, they're both different types of RGB signal, especially with how they deal with it. Like for example, RGB SCART like delivers the signal all in one cable, whereas as you can see, component actually it splits them up. Especially with the video signal being split up into 3 fucking cables, resulting in a total of 5 cables to use. And actually, you know, hook up to your devices and such. I think I already read that comment that says, OMG, that's awesome. She also says, I thought I was already following, turns out I was mistaken, lol. Yeah, now you know. Well then again, like, honestly sometimes I don't blame people for forgetting, but at the same time, like I actually can be lenient with that as well, because Twitch has been having problems with randomly unfollowing people from, you know, random Twitch channels and shit. I don't know whether that's a bug or not, but it's been a situation of its own, alright? But yeah, as long as we continue the support, that should be fine. But anyways, now moving on. So yeah, this is pretty much ideal to be used for hooking up component devices to like devices that use component to older devices, such as like a CRT TV and such. Hence like the output in this, with like, you know, the input being component, well, the input signal being component and the output signal being RGB SCART. So yeah, effectively it'll give you the ability to hook up consoles that are from the 6th generation and above, like PS2 onwards, to like older computers. I mean, not older computers, but like older TVs and such. And older displays, and still maintain like the best possible quality image that the console can, shoot out. And not only is this useful for, older devices like that, but it's also useful for hooking it up to the next device also the next and final device that I'm actually gonna showcase now. So yeah, pretty much like these two are like their significant others. Like they're pretty much like these two are literally the opposite of each other. They're like a dynamic duo per se. So yeah, the one with the red motherboard is the RGB2COMP, which has RGB as the input and component as the output, whereas COMP, the one with the blue motherboard, actually has component as the input and RGB SCART as the output. So yeah, it's nice how they actually contributed to both scenarios, which is really cool. It's like they're thinking ahead. So you gotta keep ahead of the game with these devices, and if some of you hear, DIY work going on, whether it's like inside the house or outside the house, it's been going on for a bit of time, but yeah, just ignore that. But yeah, I'll just put these aside. But it's interesting how, like, even though a majority of these devices, they look the same or somewhat similar, like their chipsets, of course, are designed for their own purpose. So like they have a different chipset altogether. Okay, so chucking all these aside, okay, now for the final device that I'm gonna showcase, and of course, like you've already seen it in the thumbnail for those of you who were here earlier. But yeah, here we are, people, with the final device. Here we have the RetroTink 2X SCART over here, which is pretty much like, it's the counterpart, like it's pretty much another counterpart to the RetroTink 2X Pro. It's like, it's another alternative for those who just want to use the SCART connector. And like the reason why I got this was pretty much like a backup, even though like it doesn't do exactly what the RetroTink 2X Pro does. So yeah, like it does what the 2X Pro does, but not exactly everything that it does, if you get the picture. So, and as you can tell, like it doesn't have S-video or anything. It doesn't have composite or S-video connections. It only has the RGB SCART connection, which then of course is shot out via HDMI. And another difference is that, and although it also has like the scanline filter, it doesn't have the additional options in order to, like, it doesn't have the additional options in order to like such as the comb filter and like the mode, because unlike RetroTink 2X Pro, the RetroTink 2X SCART is actually locked into 2X mode. So like it gives the player less, or like it gives the consumer like less of that freedom in order to like, select between different options, whereas like the RetroTink 2X Pro is more versatile in that aspect. And of course, like there's no input switch because RGB is the only input. RGB SCART is the only input that it takes. And also like, more as to why I actually got these products. So okay, so now I'm just gonna like put them all out as to like how I would use them. Okay, so Okay, so pretty much like this is how I would use these devices over here. So basically, like the reason why I actually purchased these 4 products all in one package is because in a way like they feel like a package deal and go hand in hand, and they work as alternatives to each other in case one doesn't work out. And yeah, I'm just like adjusting because of the way it actually shows everything, but yeah. Anyways, and like my main choice, so pretty much this is how I see it. Like the products that I would mainly use, like in order to actually like, you know, hook up my retro consoles and stuff, would be like the RetroTink 2X Pro, and I would like hook up the 6th gen consoles to the 2X Pro, and then if I wanted to use a console that's like older than the 6th generation, like the 5th generation and below, I'd use the RGB2COMP to hook up my older consoles, like my classic retro consoles, through RGB SCART through to component, and then like feed it through the HD Retrovision component cable to RetroTink 2X Pro. And a lot of people have actually stated, especially in like the retro community, but not only that, but also other channels that have actually, you know, covered this sort of stuff more in depth, it would highly recommend using HD Retrovision component cables along with RetroTink products, as they are pretty much a match made in heaven, or a marriage made in heaven, as some of those content creators have pointed out, which honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I can't say I don't agree with them with, like, you know, how everything is being advertised and the results that I've seen. I mean, the results are pretty amazing, and not only that, but especially like from the RetroTink 2X Pro, like it also does something that the XRGB Mini FrameMeister and the OSSC 1.6 doesn't do, and that's actually, you know, maintain the original full startup sequences to like all the consoles, well, all the ones that I've seen so far, especially like for consoles like the PS1, because the XRGB Mini FrameMeister and the OSSC 1.6 actually has like a signal dropout. Therefore, like, you can't see like the full startup screen, which sucks. And that, for me, along with a bunch of other people, would actually take away from the authentic experience, because obviously you don't remember seeing a cut in the fucking startup screen, do you? Like, obviously you don't remember seeing the startup screen starting like halfway into its animation. So yeah, like, that's exactly why RetroTink 2X, that's pretty much like what RetroTink have actually fixed from what I've seen. I've seen it in other people's live streams where they actually tested out the RetroTink 2X Pro. And I gotta say, like, that is also another primary option as to why I pretty much like have my eyes on using the RetroTink 2X Pro and the RGB2COMP as like as pretty much like my main devices for, you know, recording and also live streaming like classic games like off the original consoles themselves, if I wasn't to do it on emulator, on top of the more versatile options that you can use, which is really cool. And also like the SCART, whereas like RetroTink 2X SCART and the COMP2RGB, which of course is, as we've established, like the reverse dynamic alternative counterpart to the RGB2COMP. Like, of course, like, this would be in a way like a reverse engineered solution to hooking up, like, you know, the consoles from the 6th generation and above to the RetroTink 2X SCART. And that would be used as a backup, especially since the RetroTink 2X Pro is more versatile to use, especially as more of a frontline product, which is really cool. Although I've seen like some live streams of RetroTink 2x SCART, like there's a like I've seen signal dropouts in terms of like the startup sequences in terms of the 2x SCART, but not the 2x Pro. The 2x Pro is actually, it also handles the signal better, especially due to the fact that it's not locked at 2x mode and actually has a low pass filter which handles the signal better. So yeah, it's like whereas the RetroTink 2x Pro really cleans up the signal and maintains the signal better. And I even remember like seeing it in action for the first time with the original RetroTink 2x. Even the original RetroTink 2x actually showcases the full startup for the PS2, like without a single signal drop. Yeah, it is a bit of a bummer, isn't it, Kendall? Just that's a bit of a bummer. Yeah, you don't want that shit. You really don't want your authentic experience fucked over. But yeah, this is pretty much like the ideal setup. Well, for now anyway, until they bring more stuff out. I'm not sure about like whether I'm gonna get the RetroTink 2x Pro multi-format in the future, which I've mentioned earlier. For those who weren't here, is pretty much it looks exactly like this, but the case itself is in black. So like, and you can't even, and I don't think it's see-through either. It's just a black opaque case. It's just a black opaque enclosure, and it will say RetroTink 2x Pro multi-format, which is actually coded as the 2x Pro M or the 2XM, according to the official website. By the way, for those of you who still want to get the original RetroTink 2x, which they're now calling the RetroTink 2x Classic, like they're now on a limited supply of them, and they're gonna be discontinued at some point, especially since the RetroTink 2x Pro is actually its successor, which honestly, I'm actually glad that I actually waited it out. Actually waited for something even better to come out, especially with how like more ergonomically suitable it is. Cause like the enclosure is also different than the original. Cause like, it would be harder to actually press the buttons and stuff because like they're more wedged in. Well, they're not wedged in, but the enclosure is like it's less ergonomically suitable because of like how. Because pretty much, like, there are like pillars or whatever they are, and the buttons are actually inside, and you have to like, in a way, reach your fingers or thumbs inside just to press a button for like the low pass filters and shit. Or like either reach your fingers in or just like use a fucking pencil or some shit, or I don't know what the fuck you want to use. But yeah, this is why like it's better to get the RetroTink 2x Pro. Not only that, but for its bonus features as well. But yeah, for those who already have the 2x Classic, which now that's what the original's called, the 2x Pro would just be a minor upgrade because like it does what the original does, but to a greater extent with like just a few bonus features. But honestly, I'd highly recommend the 2x Pro, which is really cool. And now, actually, before I end this off, there's also like another product that I also got from Castlemania Games back in the day, which also helps clean up the signal even further. And yeah, this product I also haven't unboxed, but like it's also one of the decent products that you can use, and it actually upscales the image through HDMI. Well, it doesn't upscale, but it polishes it up as well. It's like, here it is, the M Classic. Wait, I don't have OBS up. Okay, here it is, people. The M Classic, which pretty much it's used in a way like a HDMI graphics processor per se, even though like it's not technically a graphics processor. It's more like a device that cleans up the signal, an extension, so to speak. And on top of that, like it upscales the image, but at the same time it preserves the quality. So in a way, it's kind of like another one of those filters. It's in a way like an additional filter to the RetroTink 2X Pro that you can use, which is pretty cool. Not only that, but it actually upscales. Well, it doesn't upscale, but in a way like it projects the image quality better with anti-aliasing and everything. So like it's like there's less interlacing going on, and it smoothens out sharp edges in the process, which is really cool. Kendall says, "Oh, that's nifty," and Ryan says, "I thought you pulled out a Magic the Gathering box then." Yeah, man, that'd be jokes. Just starts pulling out cards, lol. Yeah, Kendall just says, just starts pulling out cards. Yeah, like this is one of those magic tricks. Man, simple card trick. But yeah. But anyways, I'll showcase the back in order to like pretty much showcase this in better detail. So, but the way they advertise it in the way it's strange and also funny at the same time, because they advertise it as if it's like a quote-unquote a graphics card for your console, when really, no, that's really not what this is. That's not even the fucking case. Clearly it's like another selling point that they want to pull out. But yeah, this is in a way like a cost-effective solution, and it's better than getting the M cable, because the M Classic actually in a way upscales the signal. Well, it doesn't just upscale the signal, but it preserves the details at the same time in the process. But yeah, this is what it says in the back. PC gamers are able to upgrade their graphics card, while console gamers have been limited by locked hardware. Not anymore. The M Classic is here to be the world's first add-on graphics processor for video game consoles. Yes, you read that right. Yes, you read that right. The M Classic. Wait, I'm looking at my fucking thingy-majig on my monitor while looking at that. Yes, you read that right. The M Classic is like having a new graphics card without the hassle of modifying your games console. Yeah, that's what they advertise it as. And yeah, you can probably see my reflection in like, you know, the packaging. But yeah, I won't be unboxing this. This is just for showcase purposes. But yeah, this is pretty much the devices that it's compatible with. And you can just use them straight on these newer consoles, and these older consoles, these classic consoles that have like an asterisk like on their name. Of course, like they're gonna require add-ons and shit. And as you can see, like it hints over here, like retro consoles with like the asterisk over here. Ryan says that's actually really freaking sweet. Yeah, it's really sick. Like, it was pretty cheap for what it was worth back then. Well, then again, like, arguably it is somewhat expensive too, but for what it is it's a cost-effective solution in comparison to, you know, other devices that are on the market, especially those like low-end products that people are legit just trying to rip other people off with. So yeah, pretty much like this device has like 3 main functions. So it has like a processing mode which you can put on, which is really sick. And as I've mentioned, like, okay, so like it pretty much like has a toggle switch behind this device on the back. Actually no, like the switch is on the side of the device, where you can actually, you know, just showcase what it is. And as you can see, the top, it shows like the button being on the off position, so like processing off, no processing, and then processing on. Like if it's in the middle, it has like the processing, like it has like, you know, the mainline processing option on, in order to actually upscale an anti-alias. Like it puts like the upscaling, the anti-aliasing, and the like, and you know, the sharpness on. Like it pumps up the sharpness, but at the same time, like it smooths out the jagged edges and such, which is really cool. So like, in a way, it polishes up the signal to an even greater extent, on top of, which is also useful to be used on top of devices such as the RetroTink 2X Pro. And at the bottom over here, we also have a retro mode, which is also what the RetroTink 2X Pro actually has, and this, an extension, is also in a way quite useful, which is really cool. So yeah, it pretty much does the exact same thing, although like it's been reported that the aspect ratio is not exactly the same in terms of resolution, but it's still like it puts the image like output in at a 4:3 aspect ratio, as it would replicate, you know, the aspect ratios of those old CRT TVs or those PVMs, aka professional video monitors back in the day, which you would, you know, hook up those like PVM cables that are like component cable alternatives but exclusive type of connectors to PVMs. And they can be expensive as fuck to get your hands on, as they're pretty rare. So yeah, this gives a lot of value. So yeah, of course, if it's white and on the left, the processing is off. If it's green and in the middle, the processing is on. And if it's blue and on the right, retro mode is on. So this is some really cool stuff that, you know, these electrical engineers have actually, you know, been hard at work at and been putting into action, and from the results that I've seen, they're really well executed. I highly recommend you check out channels like My Life in Gaming, RetroRGB, Adam Korolik, what other channels? EposVox. I highly recommend channels such as those, because like they represent these products really well, especially with how like they showcase accurate results of what all this showcases. By the way, like this isn't just useful for games, but it's also useful for movies as well. It's like it preserves the details for movies if you have to put processing mode on, and actually like, even though devices like the RetroTink 2X Pro and such, they upscale to the image from like 240p or 480i, 480p or whatever, to, even though like 480p is natively supported by the RetroTink 2X Pro multi-format, like it takes those oldest resolutions, even though like the RetroTink takes those older resolutions and upscales them to 1080p by default. This takes it to the next level and pumps it up to either 1440p or 4K, depending on whether it's like a game or a movie, which is really cool. So like this would also be useful if you're like capturing VHS, like, you know, VHS tape footage from like RetroTink devices while being fed through RetroTink devices, and then using this as like a pass-through function per se, which is really cool. So like this is a nice sweet bonus, I have to say, to be used like on top of all these devices. It's something that I would highly recommend. Like this has had its predecessors where like there were two separate cables which separates the use of games consoles and one for movies. There's one called the gaming edition, which is an actual cable, and there's another one, like, you know, which isn't, there's the one that's called the gaming edition is like legit an actual cable to be used like for games consoles, in order to pretty much do what this does, but this would of course take it to the next level, especially since you don't have to worry about extra cables. But like you pretty much put this up to a device, and then you put like a HDMI cable that you already have in your own house at the other end, while this is being plugged into your device. It acts as a sweet filter. So yeah, like the predecessors would be like the gaming edition cable, which is for consoles, and also the cinema edition, like the cinema edition cable, which is pretty much for, you know, I think it's like useful for stuff like Blu-ray and such, and also I think Netflix on top of that for those of you who just want to watch movies and shit. But yeah, this pretty much caters to like pretty much every corner. It compensates towards like pretty much every corner of like the whole sector of like how of image processing and everything, and in terms of like, you know, the purpose of what the consumer actually picks these devices up for. So yeah, like, it's really cool that these devices actually exist. And also, like, another thing that I've been meaning to mention, and also almost forgot to mention, is that, yeah, like, if you're gonna need more than one of these HD RetroVision cables, I highly recommend that you get how many you need in order to like complete a setup, because sometimes, like, worst case scenario, you're not going to have enough cables to have a complete setup. And for that specific purpose, I actually have 4 of these right now, and I'm just showcasing one of them as an example. But I actually have 4 of these, and for like a multi-purpose setup per se, because like that I can pretty much connect all of these simultaneously, or simultaneously, however you want to put it. It pretty much like, it's a simultaneous multi-setup approach to take, because like I also have an RGB, well, not an RGB, actually, yeah, I actually have an RGB SCART switcher, which has like 16 SCART inputs, which then I could hook up to the RetroTink, which then I could hook up to the RGB2 component, and then hook that up to the RetroTink 2X Pro. And I also have a component switcher, which has like, I think it has 8 inputs. It has 8 component inputs in total, which I can either hook up to the RetroTink 2X Pro, or I could hook it up to the COMP2RGB, to the RetroTink 2X SCART. And yeah, I know I can hook up my RGB, and yeah, I know I can hook up my RGB SCART switcher to the RetroTink, you know, the RetroTink 2X SCART as well. But that wouldn't be as much of a necessity in comparison to this. Like I said, like, this setup over here is essentially and effectively a backup solution type of setup to this setup over here. So yeah, like, it's stuff like this sometimes you gotta think ahead in case like you know, the worst case scenario springs up. And that's pretty much like everything I have to showcase now, especially in terms of like, you know, all of these hardware devices that I've actually been meaning to showcase for such a long ass time now. Honestly, I can't. It's a massive relief getting this off my case right now, and I'm actually glad to have, you know, actually showcased all this. And before I actually, and also like, as I've mentioned this earlier, I've been meaning to do this as an unboxing video back in the day. Well, not back in the day, but like when I got these devices, when I first got them. But then, like, of course, like, I was in the middle of doing some unboxing videos already at the time, and then like it just took a lot of time to edit, so I figured I'd just do it as a showcase live stream instead, just to get out of the way. And I figured like that's how I do stuff now. Like, I think unboxing videos, I think I'd only make them if I think I'm gonna have a lot of time, but these days I don't think I'm gonna have a lot of time, just to like, you know, put in a lot of editing and all this shit into making it the best it can be. Because like when you actually do a showcase live stream, like, you can still like pretty much, you can do whatever you want, and at the same time it's like, it's more versatile, more chilled, and more laid back, and like everything is already set up, so then like you don't need to edit anything. So then like after that, it's like when you're actually, you know, recording everything, it's in a way, it's like when you're live streaming everything, you're treating it as a raw recording, but everything is already set up, which is pretty sick. So yeah, that's why I'd rather do it as a live stream, because like everything is legit already set up, and it just makes for a smoother process in general. And it's also, it saves a lot of time as well, because it just gets it out of the way. And not only that, but it also has both platforms going in hand. But yeah, anyways, and by way of I'm not sure if any of you have noticed this, but I've showcased this in like previous unboxing videos, and like, well, not exactly showcased this, but it's been like one of those aspects that have been part of my recent unboxing videos and showcase live streams. Some of you have probably clocked the @ symbol like in the distance. I pretty much have like an @ symbol prop in the background, which is pretty sick. I've had that for like ages now. I'm not sure if anyone's like clocked that or not, but like it's legit like behind the curtains, and you can just about see it. Like I mean, you can't exactly miss it, cause like it's pretty visible. It's very opaque. Oh, that's nice. Kendall says, I'm looking into all of this now for myself, haha. Yeah, it's worth the investment, alright. It's certainly worth it. I highly recommend putting this into action. By the way, like, I think I might do a test live stream of like how all this stuff plays out, but I want to test it off air myself before actually jumping onto it. Kendall also says, no lie, thought it was an IE symbol, XD. Yeah, man. It's how next level the shit really is. But yeah, if anyone has like any questions, like feel free to shoot some by. Like just in case. I mean, I've pretty much covered everything that I needed to cover, but if anyone has like any questions about these devices before I actually end off the live stream, then like, you know, feel free to shoot a comment. Like, knock yourself out. Because like, it's interesting to get into, especially with like how all this stuff works. Because like, if no one has any questions, then I'll just end off the live stream. I mean, if you want to keep your questions to later, then that's fine too, because of course, like, you know, this is all new to some of you, so like, it's gonna take time to process anyway. Yeah, just like Kendall just said in the chat, she says, no questions from me. No questions from me for now, but I might have to message you later. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I don't mind people shooting me DMs and shit about all this stuff, so yeah. It's cool that people are, you know, interested in these devices. And also, as a matter of fact, I have another showcase livestream coming up, but it won't be straight after this. Especially given, like, the amount of time I have. And also, there are other lineups to take into account as well. Yeah, I know, I just like things looking a certain way. Like, fucking sue me. But yeah, what the fuck ever. Okay, so seeing as no one has any questions, like, it's best to call it now. It's best to call it a live stream. I gotta say, this has been a fun live stream for what it's worth. And Kendall puts the lol emoji. Yeah, I know. It's just one of those situations, especially with like those those OCD situations that fuck with your head. Like, no one wants situations like that, but I'm pretty chill. Like, it's not that bad. But honestly, like, in a way, I've actually had more fun than I thought I would, actually showcasing these products. And maybe in the future, I might get the RetroTink 2X Pro multi-format, but I'm not entirely sure. We'll see what happens. I mean, if restrictions aren't actually as bad as they say they are in terms of, like, you know, overseas, like, international importing per se, then perhaps I might get it in the near future, but I'm not sure. I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. So yeah, anyways, that should be the end of the live stream, and also, I'm gonna have to raid someone too as I'm ending off, so yeah, I'm gonna see who's live before I actually call it a live stream, so then I can just shoot them a raid. Okay, who the fuck is live on Twitch? Live streaming some epic games. Yeah, for like, this is pretty much, these devices are awesome for games like Rayman, Crash Bandicoot and such. I mean, those are just two examples off the top of my head, but like, pretty much like a massive library of classic games. But I'm gonna raid someone new. There's a wide variety of classic games that you can legit just bring back to life, like Sonic the Hedgehog, Super Mario Bros, Oddworld. But I think I'll raid someone who's actually, you know, live streaming Crash Bandicoot. Just bear with me, people. For those of you who want to stick around for the raid, like, stick around so I can support these guys. I already see some guys having technical difficulties with their live streams, so like, that would suck. But anyways, yeah, it's relatable. Okay, I've made up my mind on who I want to raid. Just shoot that in the chat. Oh, I was about to type host. Fuck. Yeah, we want to raid, not host. But yeah, apart from that, I hope you lot are like hyped up for future live streams that I have planned, especially since I've also happened to have pre-ordered both Oddworld Soulstorm and Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart for the PS5. Like, ahead of time of getting the PS5 itself. So yeah, I got some epic stuff like planned up for like the near and distant future. Okay, yeah, just check and see if I've actually, you know, typed out his username right. Or his or her username, I can't really tell, but what the fuck ever. Okay, for those of you who are still here, stick around for the raid as I'm about to clock off for the live stream. Okay, now for the outro. This has been a really fun live stream and I hope you lot have enjoyed this, and for those of you who still, and just as a friendly reminder in terms of donations, for those of you who want to donate, feel free to donate through PayPal, Streamlabs, however you want, or even like support me on Patreon if you like, as I have all that set up. Although like I still need to fully get Streamlabs set up, but for now, like if Streamlabs doesn't work, feel free to donate through either PayPal or Patreon, like whichever is like your favorite mode of, is pretty much like your best choice, your best pick in terms of sending donations. Of course, you don't have to send tips if you don't want to. That's never an obligation. It's always appreciated and never an obligation whatsoever. In which, once again, honourable shoutouts to Mr. Original Name and James the Crimson Dragon for your previous donations within past live streams. Now, without any further delay, I've also actually recently made a TikTok account as well in order to like, you know, further promote, to, you know, like help further promote, you know, my both my content on YouTube and Twitch, it's like when you see a new platform, that's also more potential for promotion. I see a new platform, I see more potential for promotion. Well, it's not effectively monkey see, monkey do type of bullshit, but what the fuck ever. But anyways, for those of you who aren't following me on TikTok yet, feel free to follow. It's also called Pro195, as it is universally on other platforms. So yeah. For some of you who are waiting for this to end, I'm sorry to have kept you guys waiting, but I've just been remembering new stuff that I've been meaning to say. So yeah, I sincerely apologize to keep some of you waiting. But yeah, anyways, now to clock off for the live stream and raid Pud. For those of you who aren't following me on Twitch just yet, feel free. For those of you who are watching this live on Twitch and haven't followed yet, feel free to follow me on Twitch to keep yourself up to date and to keep yourself up to date and stay tuned for future live streams. And for those of you who are watching this archived on YouTube, feel free and be sure to subscribe, like or rate, however you want to put it. Drop a comment below to leave constructive feedback if you possibly can, and or share it around with your friends and family, whoever they may be, and see you lot on whatever's up next on both of my YouTube and Twitch channels, whenever I'm live on both, whenever it may happen. Until then, laters everyone, peace out.